partnership with Movie Maker magazine. We're here at the South Park Center, and I'm delighted to be joined with Sassy with her fantastic movie, How to Hack Birth Control. Let's take a look at the clip.
You now have the key to happiness.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot to me.
Remember when you didn't fuck until marriage? Neither do we. How to hack birth control and have lots of sex without a catch. Part 1.
Sassy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
We brought these colors.
Yeah, we match perfectly.
It's amazing.
Springtime.
Springtime. Sassy, on so many different levels, I'm so happy you made this film. It is absolutely brilliant. I just thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing it to me, Filmmakers LA. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us the brief synopsis.
Yeah, so it's it doesn't have a narrative storyline per se, so I just give it as my pitch. It's as if Samantha Bee and SNL made a baby that watched a lot of TikTok. That would be How to Hack Birth Control. So it's about birth control, it's about educating people on birth control, but it's also a comedy to make it lighthearted. Because I found the best way to really reach people sometimes, instead of beating them over the head with something, is kind of sneak it in through a laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to commend you on just the production. It was just so slick, so brilliant. I felt like I was watching a multi-million-dollar TV show, you know? It was so many moments in there, from dance sequences to music to great ensemble that you had. I just want to admire you for how great it was to watch visually as well, and learning a lot as well and experiencing. But where did it come for you? Where was that moment you're like, I have to make a movie about this?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. One thing that I talked about in our Q&As, I had a friend who had to have an abortion because she didn't know the birth control that she could have access to. Because she didn't have a job, she was really struggling, ended up getting pregnant, had to have an abortion, told me about it afterwards, and I told her, I was like, you could just go to Planned Parenthood and show proof of income and get it for free. And her face, I just still distinctly remember her face because of everything she'd just gone through that could have been easily alleviated if she'd known this piece of information. Yeah. And I started thinking about how much other people don't know, and also when I was younger, what I didn't know, and how you have to kind of talk to other women and you sort of just collect information if you're lucky. And so there was that, and then I also do these social media commercials for a living. So I thought, what if I took these techniques I use to make people stop when they're scrolling and look at something, but then also educate people with it. And one day I was actually on set doing the commercial, and I remember this light bulb, and I just was like, How to Hack Birth Control. It was just the title, right? And I was like, this is it. And then, it all kind of happened from there.
It's wow, that's amazing. I love that you're on set discovering your next project.
Right,
it's
amazing. Just like the title at first. I was like, the rest I'll figure out, but I was like, that's what it should be.
Yeah, and I also love that it was inspired from someone, that you know as well. I've got many people in my personal life that have had abortions and don't know what access they've had, and it's such a, people forget as well, it's a very, personal experience for a woman to sort of go through as well. I can't believe where your brain, your imagination went to, how you envisioned this. How did you go about knowing how you wanted to orchestrate this? Because this is not a normal movie. This is this is a bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's every genre.
Definitely.
How did that kind of piece together in the writing process and directing as well?
Yeah, so what I did first is I actually went to the Planned Parenthood website and took a list of the different major birth control options that are out there, and I kind of just lined them up in the succession that I felt like made sense, because it's we start with condoms and work our way through the morning after pill and then get to actual contraception. So I basically just listed them and was like, okay, there's about 30 scenes here, and I just thought, what are interesting ways that I could tell these stories? And then it just each time was like, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And it was really important to me to also have a really diverse cast, because of the fact that there's more, I am a white woman, but there's more than just white women on this planet. There's all different types of women, and I really wanted everyone to hopefully see someone that reminded them of themselves in it. So I kind of just mapped it out that way, being like, okay, these are the kind of people I'm from this, what scenario, whatever. And then I also thought about the transitions, because in the social media sphere, transitions are incredibly important, because you don't want people to tune away.
No.
And so I just kind of was like, okay, this transition can lead to this, and I just sort of knocked them out one by one.
I'm still mesmerized with all the different scenes that you had that playing off in my head. So that, I mean, again, you had a fantastic ensemble cast. It must have been a little bit exciting casting this though.
Yeah, it was so fun actually. We had over 5,000 submissions for this project, which I
that's
didn't
impressive.
Yeah, I did not expect, but I really, really pride myself on the breakdowns I give for actors, especially female actors, because I've had female actors in the past come up to me and be like, thank you for this side, because it actually gave me something to work with and something to be excited about. So I did that with all of them, and also we put out this casting call in August of 2020, so there also wasn't a lot going on at that time, so it actually worked really well to our advantage because we got all these amazing people who really threw in their all into this, and we're also just excited to be on set, like I was after being like locked in a house for 4 or 5 months, however long it had been at that point.
How do you feel like I mean, must have been, I mean, you've obviously come from a commercial social media background, etc. as well, but how is it like directing this? Like, what was your kind of process? I mean, you've got everything from choreography in there to music to game show to all these different aspects. Like, how is it directing? Like, how do you work with your actors? Like, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so I've actually, I've been making traditional narratives and web series and pilots for about 15 years since college, and then getting to this, now that I had a little bit more of a budget, I kind of was like, what have I not done? What do I know I could do? And that was literally, like, I want to do a dance scene, I want to do some green screen stuff. I was like, I foster cast, this one looks like he likes a camera, let's throw him in front of it. It's just like, what are the crazy things that I have never had a chance to do before that I could accomplish, mostly outside or with 2 characters together? Because that was the other thing, since it was that part of the pandemic, I wanted to limit the scenes to just have one-on-one with the actors, which also worked for the advantage of the overall project. And with the actors, because I do have the narrative background, we had these great outdoor rehearsals that went off the script that were also improv. And so an actor would have do this really good thing, and I'd be like, that's great, now take this and try it like that. And that's how we got everything together. And so when we got to set, everyone was just 110% prepped and ready to go. And because I love improvising with people, things just kind of flourished out of it. And some of my favorite jokes in the movie are definitely ones I didn't write, because I just think it's so great when actors come up with these glittery one-liners, that a couple of them made it in that are just so brilliant to me personally.
I love that, and I think improv is I mean, you can, it's so nice to let people play, especially in a comedic genre like this as well. I mean, great. I want to talk about production design, because I was like, it was flawless. It was so impressive to watch. Like, it's a visually great experience to watch your film. How did you go about creating that dynamic?
Yeah, so there's this really talented woman named Leah Gonzalez, and she did the production design for the project. We'd actually worked together on a commercial before, and I saw her immense talent there that was completely being underused at this one company. And so then as soon as we started getting things together, I approached her with it, and she was super excited to do it. And so she sorts like, the chastity belt is a kind of funny story, because, we went through a list of like, okay, we need blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, so I went to West Hollywood, found some chastity belts. I don't think they're the ones we want.
A little bit different crowd.
Right, exactly. So she had to like go on Amazon, buy a lock and source this and that. And so when it came to getting Lauren, the actress who gets married, in that dress, it was just really funny. She's in this wedding dress, like holding it up with like 3 or 4 women, just like attaching this chastity belt to her. They had to super glue it on and that type of stuff. And Lahia just like, again, just working with really talented filmmakers like myself who are in this industry but not getting recognized as much as they should be, but have great talent. And instead of like working for a rigid company, I said, Lahia, like, let's have some fun with this. Give me your visual style with it. And she did a fantastic job with like all of the props, all of the set design. I mean, she had a ton of work to do, and I am personally just continually impressed with everything that she pulled off for the budget that she did.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
Now, was there any challenges in this project, or was it just, easy?
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's like, no, this was so easy. There was definitely challenges. The first one, of course, was COVID, because I started putting the sort of seeds together right before the pandemic. Everything shut down, and I was just like, I'm never going to be able to do this project. And one of my best friends actually helped run the COVID response in Washington, D.C., not federally, the district-wise. And she actually helped house all the female homeless population in D.C. pretty flawlessly by making this plan. And I was talking to her about it, and I was like, you know, it really sucks because I really want to shoot this project, especially right now, because, you know, Trump was still in office and crazy things were happening. And she was like, well, you absolutely can, and I'll help you. And so she created this custom plan, and this was also before, like, everyone was talking about air, you know, people, because we still don't know what's happening. She was like, make sure you're outside, there's ventilation. She's like, that's really all that matters, is you gotta make sure everyone quarantines, tests, and that there's lots of ventilation. And so because of that, we were able to get around all the COVID stuff, and no one got COVID, and there was like 60 plus people involved in this, which was really, really great. Every day it was one of those like, God, I hope no one has COVID, because we're all gonna die if we do, you know, like we're still testing and stuff. But at that point, you still didn't know for like 6 days, right after the fact. And then the other challenge, of course, was the VFX in it, was something I had never done to that scale. And
so good.
it was, I mean, our VFX artist, Sam Liebinger, was amazing. He and I have worked together for years, and we had a whole system where, you know, he would create the VFX, he would export it to me, I would key them and fix them, and then export them to my fiance Vince, who would then export the whole thing on his computer, because it was just like an assembly line of VFX for about 3 months that we went through. And there was, of course, tons of challenges with that, especially the game show sequence, which was
genius.
Yeah, thank you. And it was I think that's the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life, filmmaking wise, yet. But I can't wait for the next challenge where I pull out my hair all over again and then regrow it, you know?
Well, I just want to say, Sassy, that it was great in the audience last night, and just hearing it, like, so many laughs, there was so many moments that I mean, I've watched the film a few times because I wanted to capture things that I may have missed the first time. Like, it's one of those films you can watch over and over again, and should be in every school, in every political office, in every office, and for every man to watch particularly. But no, it was so great to have you do Filmmakers LA and hear that audience. What's the experience been like, you know, having it in front of an audience as well? But we loved having it yesterday, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I love New Filmmakers. We were just talking about how much I love the other female directors there, because New Filmmakers has such a great caliber of film. So it was a personal honor for me to be in a block like that told such diverse like stories from a female perspective, but strong stories that weren't patronizing, or it really felt very honest about the female experience, which is something so new to cinema in general. And so it was just so cool doing that. And one of my favorite things when I watch this is hearing audience members catch like the little jokes in it.
Yes.
And I definitely heard at the New Filmmakers, like when the Tucker Carlson character, like someone's like, Cucker, Snarlson, like super loud about it. So I just love when those kind of moments happen, and I hear people laugh at little things that I know are there, because I just try to give jokes to everyone. So like, I personally, my parents work in the news, I'm obsessed with the news, I grew up in DC, so it's just kind of inherent for me, but I understand that not everyone knows all that stuff. So I wanted to give sort of layers of it, so people who aren't quite as informed would still think it's hilarious, and the people who are very informed would all be like, oh my God, that's so funny that that's in there.
I mean, it's amazing you grew up in that environment. I mean, it's shocking to know that since the time you made your film, rights have been stripped away for women, decisions made by men. I mean, it's sad to say that your film is even more important than it was when you first made it happen.
Yeah, it's really tragic what's happening, and also with the lack of perspective on it, because I feel like there's this narrative that it's just like abortion bad, you know, birth control equals this, but it's not black and white. And that's what I wanted to show in the film, is because female reproductive rights is just a complex subject, and it's going to be different for every single woman that's out there. And whatever your beliefs are, that's totally fine, but we don't live in an age where that should be imposed on you. It's just, you know, it's a woman's choice to do what she wants to do, and it makes me really happy to show this to people. And like, I have friends who've been programmed with me in different festivals multiple times, and a few of them are guys, and I was like, you are the now most informed person on birth control that exists, because they've seen the film so many times, you know, so it's really cool to just put it out there and to get people's reactions, and to try and help in this crazy time we live in today.
Exactly. Well, you said the most important thing, it's a woman's choice, it's a woman's choice, it's a woman's choice. Forget it, don't remember it, okay, everybody out there? But no, thank you so much. Well, I'm ready for your next project. I'm waiting. I'll be camping outside for the next one. What is next for you?
Yeah, so I'm developing a feature. It's an abortion road trip movie. It's a drama plus, so drama with comedy, some thriller aspects to it, and it's, you know, about these 3 girls who have to travel from Houston to Las Cruces to make it to a women's clinic before it closes. And actually, I'm taking the road trip myself in about 2.5 months with my fiance, because I mean, I've never driven from Houston to Las Cruces. So I figure if I'm writing about it, I should probably do that. So I'm really excited to do that and
So
sort of
exciting.
delve more into this story that I've been developing. And you know, my managers think we could get funding, but we do need funding. So hello.
Funding, you hear that?
Yeah,
Funding? Okay, we'd appreciate
we do need
it.
funding,
Okay.
and
Yes.
just going through the bigger filmmaking moves that like now having the success of birth control can open up, you know. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the project, and I'm excited to go on the road trip and just write and have a great time.
Document it too.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah, all the footage. But
Yeah.
well, we're so proud of you, new filmmakers. I mean, honestly, just making something with just so much in it. You gave us so much with this film. Is this your first feature? Going to be first feature?
No, actually, I made my first feature 15 years ago.
15 years ago. So first 15 years. Hey,
Yeah.
here we go. But we're so ready for it. We're so proud of you. Thank you for being part of our filmmaking family, and thank you for bringing such an important film to us with such a great community value. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, just a plug to follow me if you want.
Please.
My website is sassymohen.com. That's Mohen, and Sassy. I'm assuming you might know how to spell that. Or you can follow me at SassyMohen on Instagram.
Great. Is your Venmo on there so they can give
Yes,
back to the
it's
film?
also at Sassy-Mohen if you want to send me some money for this next film. That'd be awesome.
Thanks very much. All right, Sassy, we really appreciate you, and we can't wait for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. This is awesome.